Hey there! Welcome back to my channel. Can you believe that today is the first day of the second full week of doing this? It's crazy. It feels like a natural part of my schedule. I can't believe I didn't do this before. At any rate, today is our second ever religious talk. Today, I'd like to talk about the big cultural war of our time, which is the Christians versus the gays. Cue eye rolling. First, that isn't even an accurate picture of what goes on. It's much more about conservative fundamentalists fighting against radical extremists and everyone caught in the crossfire. There are 10 passages, at most, that are called clobber verses and are used to condemn homosexuality. Before we talk about those, I'd like to point out that not one condemns being trans or transitioning. Nope. So the conservatives need a new argument for that, or maybe just not an argument at all. There is the argument in Genesis 1 about the gender binary, but that's trumped by Galatians 3:28, where Paul says there is neither male nor female. And also the fact that the gender binary is a metaphor to point to the creator/creature distinction. So there isn't really an argument against non-binary people either. Now, back to these passages. It turns out that a handful of them don't apply to Christians because they're in the Levitical law, which doesn't bind us. And all but one of the rest are mistranslated and should be discussions on rape and abusive power play between big, huge political men and young boys. Or conversations on prostitution as a form of idol worship, neither of which sound like the consensual relationships that prompt gay marriage. So we're left with one verse that condemns homosexual relationships that include sex. Fine. That's one verse out of 31,102 verses. Yet the Bible contains more than 300 verses on helping the poor. So why isn't there a big uproar among Christians about that? Or for a more relatable statistic, there are at least 20, way more, but that's the number I could find, that talk about divorce. So why aren't Christians fighting to make divorce illegal? The answer boils down to one word: fear. Homophobia really is a fear. For people who say that it's not a fear and that it's anger, it turns out that anger is a secondary emotion and has to have its origin in something more primal, like fear. For example, my anger at people who damn gay people to hell comes from a fear that they will take away my rights, and, more importantly, that they will abuse gay people, primarily gay children, and either kill them or drive them to suicide. That fear makes me angry. And it's the same way with fundamentalists, though they aren't fearing the same things. Fundamentalists fear change. They grew up hearing that being gay is a sin, and so hearing something different challenges one of the tenets of their lives and their faith. All humans are averse to change on some level, and it's because we're designed to recognize patterns. Fundamentalists grew up learning that the pattern of a healthy relationship involved a man and a woman. Breaking down this pattern forces them to think more critically about their own relationships, define new parameters for healthy ones, and seriously question if their own relationships are healthy. In addition, it forces them to change their worldview, which obviously makes them feel threatened. If they're wrong on this topic, then what else are they wrong on? In addition, fear of gay people is a fear of the unknown. The fundamentalist has been taught that only those possessed by Satan or whatever are gay. When they hear that it's not an accurate portrayal, they are then forced to take being gay seriously. They have to consider it as a valid option, and that's something they've never had to do before. This is something that a straight fundamentalist has never been asked to comprehend before. The idea that someone could love someone of the same gender based on the culture that they've been brought up in is unfathomable. The only way to combat the fear of the unknown is to foster interaction between fundamentalists and gay people, and for allies to educate them. Of course, this doesn't get into the complexity of polysexual people like myself, but that has less to do with the fundamentalists and more to do with society at large. So, could a fundamentalist theoretically be right about homosexual behavior being a sin? Sure. After all, orientations are a relatively new discovery, so being gay can't be a sin. Do they have a right to that view? Absolutely. And do they have a right to voice it? Yeah. If they're truly Christians, though, they won't protest at Pride, go on the radio and damn us all to hell, or refuse marriage licenses. They'll love their neighbors and explain, in love, why they think what they think. Anybody who doesn't do that isn't a Christian and isn't worth your time. If this was a helpful analysis, click the like button. Got something to say? Comment. Want to watch more videos like this? Subscribe. Remember, send me your questions on Twitter or Tumblr, or use the hashtags AskAzaria and Jam Session to get those answered in a Just Asking Monday. I hope you have a great day.